Hey guys, welcome back to the channel where this time we're going to be talking about some of the Star Wars projects that Disney has announced over the years that have never come to materialize. A few of these have kind of been swept under the rug and not really talked about at all. Other ones have just kind of been in development hell. So, it's kind of sad. It's become a running theme with Disney and their leadership, that we have these projects announced that just somehow never make it, or they go through like four or five different creative minds before they actually come out. It's actually mind blowing when you really sit down and look at it. So just, some of these projects have potential, so we'll see what happens. First one's Rogue Squadron. This is one that I'm personally really want to see. It's by Patty Jenkins. It's something she is very passionate about doing. Obviously, with Rogue Squadron, you have an opportunity to explore some of the pilots and really dive into the different vehicles and things like that. I think there's a lot of potential for a good story there. The original Rogue Squadron from the expanded universe was cool. I don't think they'll necessarily adapt that, but to see that story, and maybe get some cool characters from the rebellion would be really awesome. So, second one is Rangers of the New Republic. I'm pretty 99.9% sure this is never going to happen. This was a show in the Mandoverse, set to kind of feature the New Republic Rangers, as the title says. Gina Carano, plays or played Cara Dune, was supposed to be a key character in this series. We know what happened with Gina Carano and her fallout with Disney, so her character was kind of written out of The Mandalorian, and this show has been put on the shelf. And I think the Mandalorian in general has kind of suffered as a result of it. Season 3 definitely tried to push in some ideas and storylines that were probably meant for this show. So it's unfortunate that got shelved. Next up is Lando. This one is still talked about as having a good potential to happen. It's kind of been back and forth whether it would be a movie or a Disney Plus series. Donald Glover's very passionate about the Lando character, and he's the one kind of making the push to make this happen. Wouldn't mind seeing it. I enjoyed his portrayal of Lando in the Solo movie. I think seeing more of him on his adventures has the potential to be pretty cool. But again, I think it's something that'll probably work better as a series and not as a full film. This one was announced at an expo years ago. Star Wars: A Droid Story. Really, there's no context to what it was supposed to be. It was kind of just a title that was put up there with a lot of other shows that did end up happening. Um, I don't know if it was meant to be like an animated series or a short, something like that, but anything involving droids could definitely be cool. The original Droids cartoons were pretty awesome, so maybe it was meant to be something similar to that, but it's weird. This one just hasn't been talked about again. This is the infamous one, the Ryan Johnson trilogy. It was announced before The Last Jedi even hit theaters, and based on the reception of that movie and just general feelings in the fan base, ever since, I don't think this movie trilogy is ever going to happen. I really can't see them just doubling down on what was a massive disappointment with The Last Jedi. As much as the executives and the higher ups at Disney really enjoyed Ryan Johnson's, turn with Star Wars, the fans definitely did not, for a majority. I know there are people out there that like The Last Jedi, and that's fine. By all means, enjoy the film, but giving him an entire trilogy and it just hasn't been talked about. I don't think it's going to happen. I kind of hope it doesn't, personally. That's just my opinion. Next up is the Taika Waititi film. I can't say I'm the biggest fan of his work, honestly. He's had some good movies. He's had some that where the humor just kind of threw it off and it didn't really land. Don't know how I feel about him doing a Star Wars movie, but it's something he's talked about and it just hasn't seemed to be going anywhere. It's just one of those things that may happen, may not. It's just ultimately depends on when he gets around to doing it and if Disney wants to go forward with it, I guess. But yeah, those are just a few examples. I know I've probably left a couple out that are floating around out there, but um, just kind of want to make this video to illustrate just, when people talk about the state that Star Wars is in under Disney's leadership, this has kind of been a recurring problem. You know, we want to know what projects we're getting, when they're coming out, what's actually going to happen with these ideas, with these shows, and, potentially even movies. And it just hasn't been that way. It's kind of at a point where we really can't trust that something is actually happening until we see it actually come out, you know? At the very least, see a trailer for it. Um, and that's really unfortunate, but that's where we're at. And that's going to be it for this video. I appreciate you watching. If you want to support the channel, share the video, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, let me know your thoughts on some of these canceled projects and which ones you'd like to see. And I appreciate you watching. As always, may the force be with you, and let's blow up that like button and go home.